face of LA Dance Moves. I don't do this very often, do I? But this is my first time jumping on live, so I just wanted to say hello. This year, as you may know from seeing my other projects, marks 10 years of the LA Dance Moves projects. I began this concept way before Dance on Film was a big thing, which was during COVID. That's when Dance on Film really kicked into action. But it was my wish and dream to create these projects to be able to touch people's lives, you know, beyond the stage and beyond an event that's over with in 2 hours. So I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about the artistic process. And all of my productions have a very specific process, and this process is very, you know, unique to each artist. But sometimes we need we need tools more than just inspiration. And so for anybody watching, you could be any kind of artist, and art also filters into everyday life in the corporate world. There's things that people do that like with Excel or QuickBooks that are very artistic. And so I do believe we all have an artistic side in us, and it's just how to tap into that. But I do believe it's kind of risky to just rely on inspiration. And those tend to be more passion projects when you're really inspired and you have the time to cultivate vision. But here, let me share some of my tools with you right now on when you have the time, let's say for a passion project, is things that are really helpful are writing, like literally writing or journaling, throwing different colors onto paper and just creating a color palette, writing down adjectives. And specifically for dancers and choreographers, adjectives, the mood of something in adjectives often will lead you to the verb of what kind of movement quality do you want. So sometimes just throwing those adjectives down on paper is really helpful. And then you have to get into the physical creation of the content. Now, let's say it's not a passion project and you are a working choreographer or whatever art that you have to crank out because it's your job. That's why I say it's a little risky to rely on inspiration because you don't have the time for that, right? You got to crank it out. And that's where having tools and having your toolkit is going to really be helpful. So having that process for you, what works once that you can repeat and it's going to work again, is really valuable. For me, this summer, I have a musical that I need to choreograph, and I believe there's almost 40 songs that I'm going to need to crank out, at least some choreography in each of those songs. And I always go through this every summer. How am I going to come up with all this choreography? What if I don't come up with any ideas? And it's really crazy how the mind just goes right back to where I was last summer. And it all worked out, right? So just having your process. For me, it's a notebook, it's earphones, and it's listening to the music. For me, my process is structuring out the music and deciding where I want to actually place choreography. If it's not the entire piece, then where is it going to come in? Where is it going to end? Where do I feel like it's really the most needed? And just focus on that segment. Or if it's an entire choreographed piece, you know, sections, like little chapters of a book. Don't overwhelm yourself, right, with trying to create this entire thing. And that has helped me a lot. And I'm just blown away how, you know, you chunk, put it together, the entire thing is created. So I may take this video and throw in some of the LA Dance Moves productions I've done through the years, or I might make a separate video, but each of those productions is so uniquely special on what that process is. But it always went back to the same logistical process for me, which are the things that I had mentioned. So if this resonates with you, give me a comment below on what kind of things do you do to create a systematic process for yourself as far as creation. And you could be, you know, an artist, a sculptor, musician, writer, filmmaker. I think they're all kind of similar in how we come up with these amazing ideas. We come up with. And do you ever look back at something you created and go, how did I come up with that? Like, where did that come from? That's kind of fun when that happens. Sometimes when we remove ourselves from a finished product and look at it later, it's like, wow, there was something really special going on there. And that's a great feeling. I think that's why we create. So with that, I'm going to sign off, but I would love to hear your thoughts. And thanks for listening. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.